One of the coolest parts of being a writer is that I often hear from people all over the world. People will reach out, ask questions about stuff I'm researching, stuff I'm creating, and generally just random stuff. It's a lot of fun. And recently, I heard from somebody in a tech community who asked me, she was like, "Hey, Ritika, you clearly love what you do. How do you find a career path, or how did you find a career path that leaves you so fulfilled?" And I smiled when I saw this question because this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. For several years, I've been researching the topic of meaning and purpose at work and how, as human beings, we are absolutely hardwired to seek a sense of fulfillment from what we do. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of people aren't getting that from their chosen career paths these days. And if you feel this way, it's totally normal. I personally have been there, even loving what I do. People who work with me and who know me see me continuously bouncing off the walls, literally in a room full of walls, because I deeply appreciate the privilege of connecting humans in organizational settings to new perspectives into what they're building, into their own relationship to it. My worldview these days is that, as the saying goes, it's hard to know that you're in a moment of history when you're in one. But here we are at a very interesting crossroads where technology is at the center of what our future world is going to look like, and the decisions that we're making every day, creating that ripple effect or that cumulative effect into what we're going to be as humans and relationship to the world around us. And working with some of the most visionary technology companies in the world, I'm so fortunate to see that picture come to life every single day. And as a storyteller, I'm often bringing in perspectives from different people. And rather than imparting my own perspective on it, I'm really channeling their perspectives into a version of a story that they may not have seen for themselves, whether that's blog posts, ebooks, data reports, just all the stuff that I'm building. It's never been about the stuff purely, but about how to align a profit motive with something bigger, which is what orients us towards that sense of meaning and fulfillment, which is, it's quite simple, really. It's about making the world better. It's about rediscovering our human bonds to each other and truly finding a sense of joy every day. And in our world today, that sense of joy is just harder and harder to come by, with so many destructive narratives taking shape. And for me also, it was really hard to find that joy for even a period of 3 years in running my own business and being a freelancer or self-employed, or whatever the labels. It was not an easy time, and it truly took me a lot of conscious effort to say, hey, I love helping people step into bigger versions of the narratives that already exist beneath the surface. And this is a roundabout way of me coming back to this idea that the meaning you seek and the fulfillment that you seek, it's already there. It's already deep down. And that was a realization that took a lot of consciousness shifting in my own mind every time I caught myself thinking, having an existential question of kind of why am I doing what I'm doing? what is the end game of all of this? Continuously remind myself that it was never about the end game. It's about living life moment by moment. It's about spending all of these moments on people, projects, on and with people, projects, missions, causes, to create a greater degree of interconnectedness. Um, this type of thinking took continuous reinforcement. So I remember when I was in my prolonged funk, um, something I had to consciously do was really write down the things that were important to me. So uh, the practice of journaling, it's quite a timeless discipline to just our species as human beings. If we look at some of the oldest records of Roman emperors, leaders of ancient times, successful business people, what you'll find are records of extensive journals. So I started writing down on a daily basis. These are the things that I strive for in my life. If somebody asked me 50 years from now what I would be most proud of, and it turned out the things that I was proud of, quite simple, really. Never about the stuff, never about the status, more so about, hey, I was able to create meaningful work opportunity for others, that I was able to forge a path around something that I believe is sorely needed in our technology culture, storytelling, to be able to create value for that discipline, not only for myself, but for countless other people who are defining this industry and this function in technology, storytelling, content marketing, whatever people call it. Um, and so looking at kind of this aspirational side, something else that I started journaling about, something I started writing about, was when in my life, not just all the job titles, all of the projects aside, when were those moments throughout my, what are the moments in my life that I truly felt enlightened or at most connected with what I was doing? And it's always about connecting with others. It was always about those unique, impromptu, spontaneous moments. Even as a business owner from Silicon Valley in San Francisco, I used to spend a lot of time just on my feet in the city being San Francisco or wherever I was traveling. And I'd spend a lot of time just bumping into strangers, talking to strangers, and see these moments of pure joy when they'd light up. Um, I would talk to a lot of folks who had no home, for instance, people who made their lives on the street, and I'd learn about them. I would learn that maybe they haven't had a conversation in 4 years, or maybe they didn't have a certain opportunity in their path. And to find these moments of connection with individuals who, on the surface level, we and people like me may not necessarily see as being similar or the same. Um, and so it was really these moments of seeing a new side to a story, seeing a new perspective. In more of my business life, I work with a lot of very complex technologies and um, very pioneering institutions. And the moments when I felt the greatest sense of fulfillment have been in those tiny instances like, when there are a lot of different ideas at play, and perhaps these ideas are in moments of conflict with each other, but through writing, you can synthesize these ideas into a very linear or straightforward path. So it's really in these spaces in between an idea becoming crystallized that there is beauty and there is meaning and fulfillment. And so I wrote down all of those moments in a journal entry. And after visualizing these things and continuing to do so, I'd continue writing down when those moments would come up in my everyday life, and all of a sudden realized that where I thought I was lacking meaning and the areas where I was looking externally to meaning, wasn't going to find it there. It was all in here and all in here all along. And it was such a, I'd say there were like a couple months when it really started to click. It was just this continuous new perspective reinforcement that really just kind of, I'd lost my way from what was there all along. So I'm sure I decided to record this video because I know a lot of people have the same question. How do I personally, not me as Ritika, but just how the people who reach out to me, you know what I mean? Like, how can I find, like, I want to find that same sense of meaning that you have, Ritika. What can I do to do that? It turns out there's a very functional series of practical steps to really get there. And sometimes we're definitely been there, just looking in the wrong place for an answer to a question that's like kind of hiding beneath the surface and ready to make its jump. So putting this out there, hope the perspectives help somebody, and please reach out anytime if you have any questions. I love hearing from folks from anywhere in the universe. So till then,